with Vince McMahon out midway through the build of SummerSlam 2022, what was Triple H gonna do? So this show is infamous for Vince McMahon leaving midway through the build after the allegations started coming up and Vince was forced basically to retire. And he already kind of had a list of matches ready to go, set and structured. So in the process, Triple H ended up taking over, and the show itself, some of the matches weren't necessarily stuff that we were excited for. We were more excited about how things were gonna look now with Triple H's vision, because ideally, this show shouldn't have worked, but it did. And the reason why it worked is because of how Triple H booked the show. And that's just a testament to how good Triple H can really be. Now, for those of you who are saying that WWE is still right now, I agree. Keep in mind, Triple H, when you give him the time to actually process and actually build stuff, he could do stuff good. So just keep that in mind. It's just unfortunate that now Triple H kind of lost his balls and like TKO basically took over. Yeah, with this truly being the start of a new era, we wrap up Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship, with this being Becky Lynch's last chance at the Raw Women's Championship. The story was basically Becky Lynch trying to get the Raw Women's Championship back. This was around the time Becky Lynch was doing really bad as a heel. She couldn't even win the 24/7 championship. She failed to win the briefcase. It was just a bad time for Becky Lynch, so the best they could do is just have her try to win this match once again. And this match, really good. Not as good as the Mania 38 match, but this was a pretty good entry. And then after the match, Becky Lynch turns back into a babyface, which is what we were asking for. And then the big payoff at the end was Bayley coming back with new recruits Dakota Kai and Io Sky. I just realized that rhymed. And this was the formation of Damage Control. We didn't know what to expect, but we were excited for something new with Bayley and these new talent that were coming on our way. Miz versus Logan Paul. This was a really odd time, right? Because Logan Paul was a good in-ring wrestler, and they try to make him a babyface, but the man is just a natural heel. Even in this match, there was times where people were cheering on The Miz. The only thing that made Logan Paul good was his in-ring ability. This is around the time also Tommaso Ciampa was aligned with The Miz for whatever reason. AJ Styles took over. It's kind of weird seeing AJ Styles take a back toll for a feud. And I realize Miz is always better with Maurice around. I don't know what Maurice has going. I know she's a mom now, so she probably doesn't have time to travel like that. But really, the Miz and Maurice, the chemistry and the dynamic is just there. Um, there's a cool spot where Logan Paul dives from the ring post to the announce table, which became an iconic shot for years to come. And I think people still talk about that spot from Logan Paul. It was a good match, and I love that Logan Paul actually used the skull crushing finale, taking down The Miz, because I believe The Miz was the man who trained Logan Paul. He was The Miz as his protege, and this was a great way to introduce Logan Paul. Is just that he was clearly a heel, not a baby face. I don't know why they insisted on making him a face. I will never get that. Um, Bobby Lashley squashes Austin Theory when they fight for the U.S. belt. This was 4 minutes long. It should have been 2 minutes, but I was actually heavily entertained by this, so I couldn't really get mad at this. The Mysterios versus the Judgment Day in a no disqualification tag team match. Basically, this took away Seth and Matt Riddle because there was still a lot of meat left on the bone for this feud to be great, and I think Triple H saw that. That's why they actually brawled in the middle of the show at some point. But they also wanted to add in Rey Mysterio since of his beer brand in Mexico. They needed to include him in some way, shape, or form. So then they had this match. Good no DQ match. It was just weird because they were still tagging in and out. It should have just been a tornado tag team match. And then Rhea Ripley, we're still teasing like her and Dominic becoming an item. But Edge makes a comeback after being kicked out of Judgment Day. I always think of the School of Rock lyric from Jack Black, "How can you kick me out of what is mine?" That's why I feel like with Edge sometimes with this. But anyways, he helps the Mysterios win, and this further continued on the story between the Judgment Day, Edge, and Rey and Dominic Mysterio. So I couldn't really fault this. This was pretty good. Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. This was the match I was not looking forward to. It was a decent match, but I was just over Baron Corbin and Pat McAfee. Baron Corbin in particularly, bum ass Corbin. They had a whole orchestra mock Baron Corbin. Pat McAfee was having like a gospel entrance. He changed his theme song because Seven Nation Army is a very expensive song. Again, like I said, decent match. I'm kind of shocked. I kind of would have believed that this should have been the WrestleMania 38 match for McAfee, and then Austin Theory could have fought Drew McIntyre, Battle of the Chosen Ones. That would have been a really interesting dynamic, and have Drew and Vince rekindle their bond from 2009 of how he was betrayed. That could have been actually a really cool story. I'm shocked we never got it. But anyways, again, Pat McAfee had a decent match with Baron Corbin, but I think if we compliment Pat McAfee, that brings him back, and then that led to Randy Orton and Pat McAfee. Remember how awful that was? Yeah, let's not bring Pat McAfee back anymore. This is as good as it gets. Usos and the Street Profits for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships with special guest referee Jeff Jarrett. The only reason why Jeff Jarrett was the referee is because one, they were in Tennessee, and two, they were building up to Ric Flair's last match, which I believe happened the next night after SummerSlam, where it was Ric Flair and Andrade versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. But this was an okay match. They've had way much better matches in the past, both Usos and Street Profits. They had a great match at Money in the Bank. Go back and watch that one. This one was a good one, but like I said, it was more entertaining to see the other match that I mentioned, the Money in the Bank one. This one, like I said, alright. Then we have what was genuinely the worst match of the night, which was Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Liv Morgan cashes in. This is around the time where women were cashing in the same night. This was just a desperate attempt of trying to make Liv Morgan the top, one of the top faces. It eventually worked once she lost this belt. This match, they had a Ronda Rousey put Liv in a submission hold. Liv reverses it into a roll up, wins even though she taps out. It was just like a weird, awkward finish, and then they ended up booing Liv Morgan. It was gonna lead to Shayna Baszler getting a push, but it unfortunately just never worked out. And then Ronda Rousey came back just to win the belt, only to lose it to Charlotte, and then have Rhea and Charlotte fight at WrestleMania. So the payoff just was all over the place. It's like they clearly now saw a vision with Liv Morgan. It was just a matter of how we were going to get there. But Liv Morgan definitely skyrocketed a little after the cash in. She was on Chucky. She was always a relevant hand. And it took a couple years, but Liv Morgan does become a mega star down the road. So, took a while to get there, but we got there. But then we close things off with the main event and the match of the night. Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, undisputed WWE Universal Championship in a last man standing match. This was insane. This was just good back and forth. Just both men just brawling. I always thought these guys were just never meant to have just a regular singles match. These guys were meant to just brawl and beat the crap out of each other. This is exactly what this was. Freaking Brock Lesnar comes in with a tractor. Dives from the top of the tractor onto Roman Reigns. They basically just have a big brawl throughout the side of the ring, and then eventually this was the moment, the iconic shot of Brock Lesnar lifting the ring with a tractor. Roman Reigns falls off. It looks like Brock Lesnar was just on the verge of becoming champion again, only for the Usos to come out. Austin Theory teases a cash in. So the last match of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar has interference from Austin Theory and the Usos. Eventually, they pile up a bunch of crap on Brock Lesnar with Roman Reigns retaining, thus really making Roman Reigns the face of the company once and for all. Like I said, Triple H had some stuff to work around, but he did a good job booking the show, so I can't really fault it for that. We had to work with what we had. We ended up getting a classic with Roman and Brock. I am curious if Vince was still in charge, would we have gotten this exact same match? I think the rest of the show would have been pretty bad, just based on how things go down. Maybe Becky Lynch just ends up winning the Raw Women's Championship again. I don't know, Logan Paul is the face for a long time. I don't. Vince probably would have shattered this show, but Triple H did a good job working with what he got, and I'm giving this show an A minus. It wasn't fully Triple H's vision, but we were on the verge of good and awesome things. I mean, the next pay per view is Clash at the Castle. That show was a S tier rank show, if I'm being honest. Anyways, we're gonna move on to 2023. 4 hours. Wow. These SummerSlams are long, but I can see why they went to 2 nights. But anyways, take care everybody, and I'll see you with that review when I get to it.